Yo, what's up guys? We got pokeaimMD here. Today we're having the Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl moveset video guide on how to use METAGROSS. I've kind of been doing the pseudo-legendaries, so I figured since someone noticed, we might as well continue. Now if you guys do enjoy these moveset video guides, make sure you leave a like. Let me know which Pokemon you want to see me cover next after Salamence, because that's the last pseudo-legendary that I believe I am missing from Gens 1 through 4. And also, if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe. I upload 2 to 3 Pokemon videos a day. I think this is going up on Merry Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas Eve. On Christmas Eve. Sorry, I was just thinking about Merry Christmas Eve. But it's Christmas Eve. So, you know, for those that are like me and Hispanic and celebrate today, Merry Christmas. My family, I'm not going to be seeing them, unfortunately, this year. At least right now. But I'll be seeing them hopefully in a week or two. But yeah, like I said, if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe. And also, if you guys want to pick up my new merchandise to celebrate the launch of Pokemon BDSP, that link is down below. That ends in about 2 weeks. So, I love METAGROSS. Incredible Pokemon, incredible stats. I mean, it's a pseudo-legendary for a reason, right? And even though it's been nerfed since the original Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, and by that I mean they nerfed Explosion. Explosion basically was effectively 500 base power because it used to have your opponent's defenses. Now it's just, I mean, it always said 250, but it used to have the opponent's defenses, which is why it was such a nuke. Like, you could knock out, like, Skarmories and Bronzongs and stuff with Explosion, right? Ghost types were falling over now. But METAGROSS is still a very strong Pokemon, in my opinion. Whether you're using it in the UU or the OU tier, I think it's really good. The first set we have is one of my favorite METAGROSS sets, and that is the good old reliable Choice Band. With this, your base 135 attack becomes even stronger. You're hitting at over 600 attack. And you have really good moves too. So Meteor Mash is your main move. This is your steel stab for METAGROSS. It's great for fairies, just good neutral on everything that's not, you know, like water and electric and a few other resistances, resistances as well. Now you have Earthquake as well for your steel types. METAGROSS is great because of its own steel typing, so it can resist some very prominent types like Dragon. Dragons are at their best right now, as well as fairy types like Clefable, and obviously those Pokemon are usually going to switch out into steel types that can take on METAGROSS' hit. Some of those steel types might be Scizor, some of those steel types might be Heatran. If it's Heatran, you knock it out with Earthquake. If it's Scizor, you do some massive damage with a Choice Band Earthquake. Your third move is Explosion. Now, even though Explosion has been nerfed, it's still your strongest move. Like, even when you count Stab on Meteor Mash, like, it is your strongest move. It's 250 base power. This is your way of dealing with bulky waters that are a little bit weakened. You go for this when you want to KO like a weakened Milotic or a weakened Vaporeon. They don't even have to be that weakened, just, you know, a decent amount of HP. Same thing for Suicune. Rotom Wash as well doesn't appreciate a Choice Band Explosion from METAGROSS, so just Pokemon like that. And then your last move is kind of a toss-up. I like Bullet Punch if I'm playing in the UU tier. I think it's really nice for picking off like Salamence and Flygon when they're a little bit weakened. It's also good OU for like Latios and Gengar and Alakazam that are all weakened, or, you know, Focus Sash broken in Zam's case. Zen Headbutt is also an option too, which is, you know, better on METAGROSS for bulky water since the rest of your hits are either resisted, or, you know, Zen Headbutt hits harder than Earthquake after Stab, or the other attack, you know, KOs you. So Zen Headbutt is an option. You can also use Hammer Arm if you're playing in the UU tier. Now, why Hammer Arm plus Earthquake? Well, Magneton is something that can come in on METAGROSS. And if you go for Earthquake and go for Magnet Rise, you're trapped there because of the Magnet Pull. And yeah, you can't touch them. So Hammer Arm is an option. Hammer Arm is also cool in UU for METAGROSS. METAGROSS is one of its best answers, which is like Bronzong. So you're doing some nasty damage, almost to it KOing it if it's special defensive with a Choice Band, Hammer Arm, something that your other moves will not be able to do. So that's Choice Band METAGROSS. And also at the end, I'll be talking about some partners that I think fit really well with meta as well. Next up, we have Agility METAGROSS. This is attempting to use METAGROSS as a sweeper, and this is a tried and true set. Now, unfortunately, METAGROSS doesn't currently have elemental punches like Thunder Punch and Ice Punch, which it does have with move tutors, but there are no move tutors in BDSP. So, or at least not like the traditional ones that we have. We have, like, obviously the Draco Meteor move tutor, if I'm not mistaken. But we don't have the other ones that usually come with the extension of the game. Kind of wish it was Platinum because it'd be pretty cool, but whatever. So Jolly, you want to go Jolly. This lets you be faster than like base 100s with a Choice Scarf. And some pretty common Choice Scarf users right now would be Flygon and Salamence if you're playing in the UU tier. So it's nice to be able to outspeed those. Your item can be Shookaberry, Lumberry, or Life Orb. Oh, Oh, sorry, excuse me. We're talking about choice band last one. I was like, oh, I forgot to talk about the other items. No, we're talking about choice band. Jolly, again, for that. Max attack, max speed for defense. Sugarberry can allow you to set up or even take and knock out a Flygon after taking some damage. Same thing with Metagross, opposing Metagross, as well as Pokemon like Salamence, too. Lumberry can let you set up on things like Will-O-Wisp and Thunder Wave, not really letting you be crippled by that and stopping your sweep. And Life Orb just adds that extra oomph to your Meteor Mash and Earthquake. So those are just givens on this set. You want your Steel Stab and you want your ability to hit other Steel types. Your last move can be either Explosion or Zed Headbutt. When I was playing, and I'll tell you like where I like Explosion. I actually like Explosion on more offensive teams with Spikes. I did say I would talk about at the end, but I do think that this one benefits from Spikes partners, Stealth Rock partners, and Rapid Switch. I think Donphan is a phenomenal partner with Metagross, because Donphan can take most of the ground type attacks aimed at Metagross and threaten a lot of those Pokemon back with Ice Shard, like Salamence and Flygon, respectively. It also can provide Stealth Rock support, which Metagross really, really likes. But in terms of Spikers, it depends what tier you're playing, but lower tier Spikers like Quillfish could potentially work for this. This Pokemon in particular, but if you're playing in higher tiers, you can use Skarmory plus Metagross as well, so that is another option too. Roserade can also work as well, also appreciating the fact that Metagross takes the Psychic type attacks and the Ice type attacks aimed at Roserade. So yeah, those guys can work. I think Volt Switch Pokemon work too, like Rotom Wash is really good because it takes the Fire type attacks aimed at Metagross, and again, Metagross can take on Latios, which is something that Rotom Wash does not like. But yeah, Explosion can be cool for, again, hitting those nice, strong, neutral targets like water types and stuff like that. Zed Headbutt is an option if you don't want to knock out yourself after going for it. When I play in Battle Tower, though, it's something that do Battle Tower just for fun. I like to use Explosion because you never know what they have, and they like to BS you there. So exploding on them helps a lot. And next up, we have the defensive or max HP Stealth Rock set. So this is Adamant still. Max HP, 96 speed lets you outspeed like certain bulky waters like Milotic. Also max speed Adamant Ozgu, max speed Adamant Hariyama, things like that. Some variations of Machamp if they're running HP. The max HP allows you to take a +1 Earthquake from Salamence, as well as Earthquake from Flygon too. And it just allows you to take on Pokemon like Cresselia better too, as well if you're playing in the lower tiers. The 200 speed I already mentioned was 4, so the rest were just pumped into attack. And you have leftovers just for the longevity, because this Pokemon can take like moves from potentially even Porygon Z, depending on the move. I do want to say that on the more defensive Stealth Rock sets like this, you can easily get rid of the attack investment and put it in special defense or defense, depending on what you want. If you put it in special defense, you end up going like a careful nature for Metagross. That'll better take on Specs, Porygon Z, and other ice types and even electric types, depending on the tier. But the set is Meteor Mash, Earthquake, Stealth Rock, and Explosion. I like Explosion a lot on max HP just because it's that guaranteed kill on like a weakened Salamence. So, and because this thing can live a +1 Salamence, the Salamence does have Moxie, because this thing can live a +1 Salamance's attack, I like the idea of being able to knock it out with an Explosion. But Meteor Mash and Earthquake, Meteor Mash is just nice, you know, you're neutral. Good versus Fairies, good versus most Psychic types as well. Earthquake, good for the steals, and then Stealth Rock, because this is the Stealth Rocker, you want to be able to get them up for your team. One of the best moves in the game. Of course, if you're using a more defensive one, you have to use a more offensive Stealth Rocker too. Now, this has a lot of items, but same moveset, just max attack, max speed. You can easily use Jolly on this. Also, on the Choice Band one, you could also go Jolly. I like Adamant for power, but you could definitely go Jolly on it too. You can go Jolly on this one as well. I like Sugarberry as the first move because, again, being able to check a +1 Dragonite, a +1 Salamence, a Flygon, a Garchomp, and just do some massive damage or KO some of them with Explosion back is pretty cool. Meteor Mash, Earthquake, Stealth Rock. Lumberry again for the Will-O-Wisp status, everything like that, being burnt. Speaking of being burnt, Octoberry is there for fire type attacks. Maybe you want to be able to take a flare, like a flamethrower from Infernape or something like that, or Flare Blitz. You can tank it and then go for the Earthquake and knock them out. And then Life Orb is there too. Now Life Orb might seem a little bit weird, but as an offensive Stealth Rocker, if you're using this on a more hyper-offensive team, right, where your team has like Metagross plus Dragonite Salamence plus like Calm Mind Crest plus things like that, you kind of want to get up rocks and you want to get on out of there. Not only does getting on out of there with Explosion mean that your opponent can't Rapid Spin or Defog, especially if they're slower like in Donphan's case, but with the Life Orb damage, like you're doing a lot more, and that's really good for weakening a Donphan, because in most cases, let's talk UU, because Metagross is a UU Pokemon. Salamence is the best Pokemon in UU, right? Salamence, and then you have like Cresselia. Those are like the best two Pokemon in the UU tier. Metagross is definitely in like the top 15 as well. But if you're able to get rid of Donphan, that's one of Salamance's best checks just because Ice Shard, and it's amazing, and then an Explosion does like, to offensive Donphan, like 70-80% to like an offensive variation of Donphan, which means that it can't switch in, it can't rapid spin away the Stealth Rocket, that's going to help your Salamence sweep later. So kind of up to you, you always want to go from there. And then the final set we have is the Choice Scarf set. Now this was used back in the day, and it was better when this Pokemon had Trick. Unfortunately, Metagross does not currently have access to Trick. Otherwise, you see like a Trick Iron Ball set. You see Trick on Choice Scarf as well, even as an option on Choice Band too. But it was better back with Elemental Punches and Trick because you could Thunder Punch and Ice Punch and like Gyarados and like Gliscor and Dragons. But I do think that the I do think it has some merit, like looking at it. So just because, excuse me, sorry for that. I do think it has some merit. I think being able to be fast in like a Specs Typhlosion is pretty cool, Bandit Entei type of thing. And if they're taking some damage, you can knock them out with Earthquake app. Before, I think it's good for like Life Orb Salamence as well, and Dragonite Salamence. They're trying to Dragonite in front of you or trying to hit you, they get the Moxie boost, explode in front of them. But it's basically Meteor Mash and Headbutt, Earthquake, and Explosion. Kind of just your coverage moves that we've been going over the entire time. Bullet Punch can also be slashed on all these Stealth Rock sets too, in my opinion. But I kind of like the 3 coverage moves I've been saying, which are the Meteor Mash, Earthquake, and Explosion. Those are just your best moves when it comes to Metagross. But this can be used to check Latios, check Gengar, check Alakazam better. Things like that too if you're going in higher tiers. But yeah, that's basically Metagross. Again, Spikes users like Skarm and Quillfish and Roserade and all those mons are really good partners with it. In terms of offensive partners, Metagross is amazing with Dragons. Why? Because Metagross resists Ice and Fairy and Dragon, the 3 things that Dragons are weak to. So Metagross pairs great with them, and likewise, Dragons appreciate it dealing with Fairies, but Metagross appreciates those Dragons, like what I mentioned, Dragonite, Garchomp, Salamence, Flygon, Latios. It appreciates them getting rid of the Fire types, the Ground types, because they all match up well, or for the most part they match up well versus them, which is something that Metagross doesn't like. I think that if you're using Agility as well, you could also use something with Light Screen and Reflect. Espeon can do that, as well as Yawning the opponent. Azelf can do that too. If you want to use Metagross on a more offensive team with Agility, you can use designated Stealth Rock leads like Focus Sash, Taunt, Aerodactyl. You could also use Custap Berry Fortress to get up spikes and explode, live a hit because you're sturdy. Metagross plus Magnezone is not a bad pair. You're basically overwhelming your opponent with Steel types and Dragons. That's kind of more like on a Drag Mag type of team, so that's basically like Dragons plus Magnezone plus another Steel usually. So Metagross, that's not bad. Magnezone will get rid of Skarmory and Scizor, stuff that Metagross doesn't like too much, depending on the Metagross set. Choice Band doesn't really care too much about defensive Scizor because it'll do some massive damage to a KO with Stealth Rock or Earthquake. So, and then you have the Dragons later to clean up. But that's kind of like Metagross when you go into it in a nutshell. I hope you guys all enjoyed. Of course, if you did, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. And I will see you guys later today with a nice little video. So, and 2 videos actually. We're using, I think, a Mamoswine in the Wi-Fi battle, as well as an Abomasnow plus Glaceon in a Showdown Live. So I'll see y'all. Peace.